Hey there guys, welcome to part 2 of the au pair crazy stories that I need to tell you, plus recommendations of course, because I really want you to have the best experience and learn from everything that I went through, including the 5 rematches. So let's get into it. Today I'm going to talk to you about the rematch part, because in the first part I talked to you about the application process, how it's supposed to go, the embassy stuff, the visa situation, and my first family of course. Now I'm going to talk about the rematch, how it works, how many families I went through, because I went through 5 families, how was the process with every single family, and all the pros and cons when you do rematch. Okay, while I do my makeup because I'm going out and I need to be ready super soon. So let's get started. Once I matched with this family in California, it was super interesting because, as I said in the first video, they look very kind, very sweet and loving and welcoming, like people from India are. So I was very happy to go there and to experience this new place because, you know, California, I don't know, I feel like it was like a dream to be there. So I said goodbye to Chicago. I was thinking that I will be back for sure. All the time that I was in the Airbnb living by myself, I just went and lived the life I always want to live in Chicago, just go and run by Lake Michigan. It was like a phenomenal time that I spent in the city and actually made me fall more in love with the city. So on the flight to California, it was super interesting because I have never, ever traveled in first class, you know, like never, ever, to be honest. Like I am a medium class person. It was like a whole experience for me to have this crazy experience, and everything was super like safe because of COVID restrictions and stuff. So I felt like lucky, but I was a little sad, I'm not gonna lie. And as I said, I couldn't go through the grief that I need to go through before I start a new chapter, because I was dealing with my grandma's death, plus saying bye to a whole city, saying goodbye to my host kid. I left her so many things so she can remember me, and she still does. And I just have to move to this other city, to this other state, this other family, and be just very happy output that they need for their kids, you know. It was hard. Anyways, once I got there, I was surprised because the family have put like an isolated space for me. I had my own room. I didn't have my own bathroom, but you know, that was okay because I also shared the bathroom in Chicago. They have covered my whole room with plastic just to avoid any COVID situation. I feel like that was the first red flag ever. To be honest, I matched with this family, but also I did it because I was on the edge. I didn't do it just because, oh my god, I love them. By the way, I talked before with her au pair. She was doing a rematch. She told me that they were very restrictive, but for me, my host mom in Chicago was already restrictive. So I thought they were less restrictive. Wrong, I was wrong. Ugh. So once I saw that, I know that was a huge red flag. California was a whole different experience. My host kids were like super loving. They were the sweetest. Like, I feel like I always say this, California gave me the love I was craving for when I was living in Chicago. Their main love language was physical, so my host kid was always like hugging me, and he was 3 years old, almost 4, so he was just super loving. I also took them in bunch of walks because I felt like that was a very good thing to do, since the parents were working from home, and that was a little chaotic as well, because I don't know why in that house there were no lockers in the doors, okay? And the kid knew the mom was there, so whenever he heard her voice, he would run and open the door and just get to his mom. And the mom was blaming me because her kid wanted to be with her. And I was like, bro, that's not... What are you talking about? Of course your kid will choose you. She was telling me like, yeah, you don't play with him enough, that's why he always misses me. And I was like, no, he misses you a lot because he's your son. That's why he's missing you a lot. It's logical. So that was a little complicated in that way. That's why I decided to do a bunch of walks with the kids. My oldest host kid was 9 years old, and she was like super smart and focused on her school. She actually didn't need any kind of help, and she was like a little supervisor, but she loved me too, so we were like friends. And they also have friends, so we were visiting some friends and stuff, and I get to know a lot about the Indian culture. In that house, my chores were different. I needed to wake up and maybe have some breakfast with them, but most of the time the parents were having breakfast with them. I just have to make sure that they both were connected with their classrooms. The older kid was 9, so she was in primary school, and my little one was 3 to 4, so he was in kinder. And you know how crazy it is to make a hyperactive kid to just sit down and listen to his class. It was like a whole challenge, but the teacher was also very nice and pretty good making the kids to listen. So you're kind of fine there. By the way, for the outputs in the US, you work like 40 hours per week around, okay? So they make me work from 8 to 5 every day until Friday, of course, and then I had my weekends free. We did some kind of lunch, and then we go for walks, and I took them for long walks, and the mom was like, why do you have to go to many walks? And you know why? Because I needed to take him away from you, otherwise you will blame me because he was looking for you. That's why. I don't even know how I survived all of this, to be honest. Anyways, now how did I spend my free time? Guys, help. So my free time, I have the Saturday and Sunday all the day for myself, right? But in this family, they told me, since COVID is here, you only can go out 3 or 4 hours maximum, because otherwise you can bring the virus in the house and blah, blah. How you want me to be outside 3 to 4 hours if to go to anywhere from the house? It will be a long way. I have to walk to everywhere. And everywhere was super far away, like everything, guys, everything. And to be honest, I didn't follow these rules that the family gave me because I was exhausted to be there all the time, and just, I was doing my best and they were like being reasonable with me. The fact that they have the car and they could go to do anything, but I couldn't use the car and I have to be only 3 hours outside. Sorry, but I didn't want to follow that, and I didn't. And I am proud of it. So what I was doing when I was going out is mainly walk a lot, guys. I discovered a lot of spaces, a lot of places. It was so pretty. Then the dad told me he had a bike, so I started using it too. I just like enjoy a lot, and I feel like that and in Chicago was when I started loving going into rides and walking around for long distances, very long distances. So that was what I was doing in my free time. I don't want to tell this, oh my god. And one of also the best things was that I met my first boyfriend in California. He was the sweetest boy ever, and we had like amazing time together. Thanks to him, because he had a car, we get to explore a lot of areas in San Francisco because we were close to San Francisco, and it was such a lovely place, mainly because I received a lot of love from my host kid and from my boyfriend. It was super sweet and nice. And since I started working there in November and my year finishes in March, the mom was asking me, even though we went through all these moments, she asked me if I want to do my second year with them, and I didn't, guys. After all I am telling you, like, I couldn't. I was like, I cannot live in this prison. Like, I don't even have a car and everything is so far away. I know my boyfriend is here, but it was just like, I couldn't. I was thinking that I really need and I deserve something better and better conditions of living, because I wasn't happy with my job situation. So I started publishing in Facebook groups that I was looking for a new family for my second year. And then when she found out that, she was like, oh my god, you lied to me, how dare you? And I was like, I told you I didn't want to do my second year, and it's not personal, it's because I think that we do not match to live or work together. But she was super angry about it, and her husband decided to send me to Rematch. Even though I didn't need to go to Rematch because I was about to finish my year, you know? So that's finito, and then I had to go somewhere else. But she decided to finish my contract like 2 weeks before. So I need to find a family now faster. So I had to find a new family, and they always give you 2 weeks that you have to stay with your current family, and then you can move. And I didn't want to stay that long with them because, you know, I felt betrayed, to be honest. So with my boyfriend at the time, we decided to go into a road trip to a California beach. It wasn't a road trip, but you know, from the place where we were to another city and a very beautiful beach. We decided to go there to spend our last days together because I found a family in Maryland. And that's like in the other side, you know, California is west side, literally west, like the sea is there. And Maryland is the other side, close to New York, a whole different place. And it was one of the most painful decisions I had to make, because I didn't know how serious he was until he asked me how long I will stay, and then I explained to him what happened. And it was heartbreaking for both of us, but I still think that it was extremely worth it, all the time that we spent together. Of course, I told my host mom that I was going with some friends to a beach or something before I say goodbye. So actually we felt that he was an Uber driver picking me up, and I will go with my to my friend's house to go to the beach. But of course he was not, and the host mom believed everything. Like, it was so crazy. But it was just like a little escape we had. It was so much fun. It was such an adventure. And we went to this beach, and it was very hard, guys. That is one of the parts that you need to know, because when you travel and you go through all these experiences that sometimes are a little rocky, they have a lot of rocky moments, and you don't know how long you're gonna stay in a place or another. Like, it's so hard to say goodbye to people. Like, I haven't seen this guy after I left California, and that was in 2021, the beginning. And it's just so hard to like say goodbye to everyone that you met in the way, you know? And it wasn't on purpose. I just really need a place to feel safe and to have proper work conditions. So even though it was hard, I decided to do so, and I moved to Maryland, and that's my second rematch. Auxilio. So in my second rematch, this family, I choose them. I talked with their current bro pair. They have a bro pair from Germany. I asked him how was the family and blah, blah, blah. They were very kind, a completely different culture. The mom, she has African roots, and the dad was fully Chinese. And they were pretty disciplined with their kids. And their kids, they were 12 and 14. So it was like a whole new experience because I haven't been working with teenagers, you know. And I was so used to just be full of love with my little 3-year-old house kid in California. And I was very used to this dynamic. I don't know, I was just happy with the dynamic. The parents were the problem. Anyway, in Maryland, they need me to drive. And I start driving the kids to all the things that they do. I think swimming, basketball, a lot of things they need to do. Then the bro pair was like, yeah, there's nothing much to do here, to be honest. Like, we just drive the kids and they need you to be in the house most of the day, but you do basically nothing than just like be there to drive the kids whenever they need. And I was like, what? This is like extremely boring. Ugh. And I was just missing my boyfriend. It was like a chaos. And you know, from being in California with all the beaches and the sunshine and everything and the nature, to in Maryland that was snowing and it was like not pretty at all. And here's what it comes the funny part, because one day I was just standing. To be honest, I wasn't feeling very comfortable in the family when the mom came to me and she was like, hey Nesh, we were talking with my husband and we would like you to do maybe more house chores, since you don't have to do much with my kids. Like, they are, you know, growing up and you need to drive them. So we're thinking that maybe you can just also clean the house and cook for us. And I was like, no, because that's not part of the rules. Maybe I can cook for your kids, but I cannot be cooking for the whole family, and I cannot clean as well, because those things are for somebody else that works specifically on house chores. But I am au pair, I am here for the kids. So I explained it to her, even though she knew it, because a lot of families are gonna try to take advantage of your time or yourself. So you have to be very clear and put boundaries, and immediately talk with your LCC, so they know that you know the rules and they won't fool you, you know? So I was very clear and I told her, you know what, I know the rules, this is not allowed, and also I don't think that I doing this program to do that in your house. And she was kind of pissed, and they told to my LCC, we're gonna do a rematch now because she doesn't know how to drive. And I was like, bro, I'm driving your kids every day. What do you mean I don't know how to drive? But my LCC knew what was happening because I told her before. And she couldn't say anything because also her major clients are the host families. So she said, oh, okay, then I'm gonna talk to her. And she talked to me and I told her, I just went through a rematch. I am exhausted on finding families. Like, it is a lot to go through and to move from a place to other. Because I remember the time that I took the flight from San Francisco to Maryland, I was crying my eyes out because I left so much love there. It was a lot to go to all these processes, and also I couldn't grieve again because I need to be happy now to this new family. So it was a lot of like, okay, just you have all the flight to feel sad, and then you have to arrive and be like, hi, I am your new au pair. It was hard, guys. It was hard. So once the family in Maryland decided to send me on the rematch, I was very exhausted, and I told my LCC, I know that they are lying to you. I don't even want to live in their houses, like, at all. And randomly, a friend I made in my city, I met her in a yoga retreat, and she randomly was living in Washington, DC, okay? That it was super close to Maryland. So she kind of saw my stories and she goes, oh my God, you're doing the au pair thing. I am loving that. I would love to have you as my au pair now. Let me know if you are interested, blah, blah. And I was like, what? Everything is in sync, matching perfect. And I text her back and I was like, bro, this is crazy because I am honestly right now in rematch and I need to stay in a place for 2 weeks because I don't want to stay in this family right now. So I'm looking for a place to stay these 2 weeks while I find another family, or I just go back to Peru because I am done. I am done with it. Like, I cannot take it anymore. And she told me, oh my God, I can pick you up tomorrow night because my boyfriend is here and we have a kid together. So we would love to work with you. We can pay you too, and also you can stay with us. She was paying me, I think, $190. So I was very happy about it. I didn't care, to be honest. I just wanna being another place with all this family that I didn't like, and also I want to explore Washington DC and have more freedom. And they picked me up. I met the girl was super kind, like I love her so much. This girl was super like easy with me. She just like enjoys the moments that we spend, as I did too. And to live there with them in Washington DC, it was super nice. The couple was super supportive. The girl was always like trying to be next to me. I feel like we made a really nice connection, and we love to just go play anywhere, walking. I just felt very welcome in their house, and I was super thankful about it. And I was actually getting ready to come back to Peru because I was done with the program. Guys, as you see, I was exhausted. And after all these 3 rematches, I was like, you know what? I don't need to stay here. And I am fine with the fact that I need to come back because I was not finding any other family. And after 2 rematches and short periods, any family could think, oh my God, she's the worst, Anyways, while I was looking for a place to be in the Facebook groups anywhere in the United States, I found a post of a mom asking about Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, for the ones that doesn't know, is in my country. It's one of the 7 marvelous things in the world, and it's super famous. Everybody wants to visit that place. I have been there twice, and it's fabulous. You need to go if you haven't yet. So she was asking about some recommendations because she wanted to go, and I just like, feel free, and I started telling her, yeah, you need to go here, blah, blah, blah. We start talking by chat, and she was super kind, super nice, and everything. Because this host mom knew about my situation, she tagged me in another post from this mom in Seattle that was looking for an au pair, and she wrote down, I quote, she's an amazing au pair from Peru, you need to talk to her, like I recommend her, she's the best. And I was like super thankful because she didn't know how much she was doing for me at the moment. I really had no more time left. Like I think I had like 4 days. The agency even called me to tell me, if you don't find a family, we can give you mostly 3 more days. 3 more days. And then you need to go home. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I won't fight it. Like, if I found something that's nice, and if I don't, it's also nice. So I did an interview with this host mom from Seattle, and she just looked so kind, and that she really needed somebody to help the house because she had 3 kids, but the oldest was like more independent women. She wanted me to focus more on the 2 younger kids. I just felt like her energy was super genuine, and I could really talk to her what was happening and why things happened the way they did. I also gave her the phones and the emails of my former host moms so they can talk, because they all knew I was a good person. It just didn't work between us. So after I gave her the numbers, then she called me once again, and we talked more, and I could see the kids, and they were so sweet. And I was excited because I was thinking, wow, Seattle is North California, which is actually Washington State. I love the west side, guys. I really recommend it. But everything was again uncertain. I had literally 3 days left. 3 days left. And I was thinking, even though I have talked with this mom, I just have 3 days left. I don't think it's gonna happen, so whatever. I'm gonna go home and I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. So that day that we went to a bar, his mom called me and I picked up. It was FaceTime actually. And she told me, I wanna tell you the great news that we want you as our au pair for this upcoming year. So I would love you to be part of our family and just move to Seattle as soon as you can. And I was like, oh my God! Like, I couldn't believe it, guys. I was like all over the place. I was like, what? But I was thinking that I have to go back to Peru. I already kind of quit on the fact to stay there. And I felt also I have nothing in Peru. And at least here I was making some money, getting to know all this country, the USA. So to know that, it was tremendous for me. One of the craziest, happiest memories I have from my au pair experience. They booked the flight super fast for me. It was also sad to say bye to the kid that I was taking care of. She was the sweetest, and again, I haven't seen her since, but I have her mom in Instagram. Sometimes I see how she has been growing up, and they are also fantastic. I just fly to Seattle, I think like 2 days after. And I have almost no clothes because I couldn't have much stuff. I need to fly a lot, guys. So I haven't bought myself that many things because I was just moving from a place to another, and I was just hopeful that it will work out, and it did. I can't believe I'm saying this because it was a lot. When I arrived in Seattle, I was a little more calm, and I have already went through a lot of grief when I was in Washington DC. So I was more calm, and the host mom in Seattle was just fantastic. She was so like friendly and understanding, and she can speak some Spanish. So she knew my culture, she knew how important for me was to hug people and to just feel, you know, close to each other in that sense. So it was just a great experience. My Huskies were also lovely, chaotic, but they were super nice, and it was different challenges that I have to go through. They also have a doggy, and in this family I have to work 3 days with the mom and 3 days with the dad in different houses. And I love that because it was nice to change, you know, the scenario where I was working. It was nice to change my work environment, and they were always super considerate and making sure that I was feeling happy, content, and my rights were fulfilled. And actually that's the place where I feel the most joy in my whole au pair experience. I met a lot of friends and I was able to drive a lot. They gave me a car and they have a dog, so I was the happiest person in the world, honestly. I couldn't drive my bike that much in Seattle because Seattle is a place where there is a lot of hills, very similar to California. But I was loving to just drive around and have that freedom. I also have a lot of free time, and I just felt like I was home. Even though we have, of course, some moments that we really needed to communicate more sometimes. Sometimes I felt like she was my boss, but other times I felt like she was my host mom. That was big for me because I felt like I was at home, you know. In Seattle, I spent over a year. Yeah, I extended a little bit more. The chores that I did in that house were simpler because the kids were going to school. Basically, wake up, check their uniform, do their lunch boxes. The mom drives them to school, then I have to pick them up and sometimes drive them somewhere else. But it was very easy, and all the environment was super nicely done so we can have fun and play. Going outside, they were super creative minds, so I miss them so much. I make such a great connections with my host kids. I have them now in message, in social media and everything. I met my second boyfriend there and he was super loving. So Seattle also gave me that sense of family because my host family was my family and also my boyfriend was like my family, and I was like super happy to, you know, feel supported and feel these tons of love that I was not feeling when I was in the other places. I am gonna cry again. It was the end of COVID, so we had more freedom and I get to travel around. And after these 5 rematches, I finally was able to find my family. I also spent a lot of time with my boyfriend and we traveled to Hawaii. And that was great. I really loved that experience. And when I have to come back to Peru, what I did in April, I felt like I was leaving my family behind, and I haven't seen them since. Neither my ex-boyfriend or my family, my host family. And it has been hard, guys, because this experience teaches you so many things and lets you do so many connections. One of my best friends is from that experience too, and she's the best. She's in Colombia now. Another friend that I met there passed away, and I will love her forever. It just hits you so much how sometimes you're gonna be physically, and you wanna be physically there for your friends, family, or every single person that you met. Even the doggy that they have in the house, I love her so much. The recommendations are always be mindful of what you really want, be very communicative, and I'm telling you guys now, you have to communicate. Like, even if you can do weekly meetings, you have to do it because you need feedback. You need to give them feedback about how you are feeling. It's important because it's also a work, so you have to make sure that you both are fulfilling all the things that you need to fulfill, you know, and checking all the boxes that you need because you're living together as well. And make sure always to talk with the au pair that is there before. Follow your gut and your intuition because some au pairs will lie to you, but then you can feel what is really happening. Make some time to try to involve with the kids, but do not force it. Once you do things for them and you decide to be your own self and be silly with them, that's when they open up to you. It also helps you to feel more freedom and authenticity because we all have this inner kid living in ourselves. I think that you might have tons of questions and I'm here to answer all of them. I also speak Spanish and Portuguese, so you need me to do that in these other 2 languages, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so happy if I solved any of your doubts. If you have more, just leave it in the comments or go to my Instagram and ask me directly and I will make a whole new video for you to know more about this. And the video that is coming up is the German experience. That is extremely different. So be ready for that and see you around in the next episode of this fantastic, over crazy world. So see you later. Bye.